Do you believe in ghosts? What if one day, your house wasn't yours anymore? What if unseen hands moved your furniture, whispered in your ear, watched you while you slept? This is not just a story. This is real. This is the true story of the Enfield Poltergeist. In 1977, the Hodgson family lived an ordinary life in a small house at 284 Green Street, Enfield, London. Peggy Hodgson was a single mother raising 4 children: Janet, 11, Margaret, 13, Johnny, 10, and Billy, 7. Their home was simple, a little cramped but warm, a place filled with love, until strange things started happening. At first it was small, a knock here, a creak there, but then furniture moved on its own. Chairs slid across the room. A dresser shifted, all by itself. Peggy thought her children were playing tricks, until she saw it herself. That's when she knew they were not alone. Have you ever felt something watching you in your own home? One night, Janet and Margaret heard knocking on the walls. At first, they thought it was coming from outside, but it was inside the house. Then, their bed shook. The girls screamed. Their mother rushed in, but nothing was there, until a heavy dresser slid across the floor, all by itself. Peggy grabbed her children and ran to the neighbors, but when they returned, the house was silent. For now. What would you do if your house started moving on its own? Terrified, Peggy called the police. She told them about the strange noises, the moving furniture. They thought she was imagining things, until they saw it for themselves. Officer Carolyn Heaps watched as a chair moved across the floor. No strings, no tricks, just moved. The police searched the house. No intruders, no explanation. But what they saw was impossible. One of the officers later admitted, "I don't believe in ghosts, but I saw that chair move. If even the police saw it, could it really be fake?" Word spread fast. Soon, reporters from the Daily Mirror arrived. They came in laughing, skeptical, but when they stepped inside, they were not laughing anymore. Objects flew across the room. A table flipped over right before their eyes. Paranormal investigators Maurice Gross and Guy Lyon Playfair took interest. They recorded over 2,000 paranormal events. They saw levitations. They heard strange voices. They witnessed chilling apparitions. This was not just a haunting. This was something much worse. The terror in the house grew stronger. Janet changed. One night she began to speak in a deep, unnatural voice, a voice that did not belong to an 11-year-old girl. Janet, distorted voice. "My name is Bill. I died in this house." The investigators were stunned. They researched and found a man named Bill Wilkins had lived in the house, and he had died right there in the living room. Janet started levitating. Photos showed her floating above her bed. Objects hurled across the room. Curtains twisted into knots by unseen hands. The Hodgson family was trapped in a nightmare. What would you do if this happened in your home? Some believed. Others called it a hoax. Investigators caught Janet bending spoons, throwing objects. She admitted to faking some things, but insisted that most of it was real. Scientists analyzed her deep voice. They said it was physically impossible for a child to speak like that. Was this a real poltergeist, or a clever trick? Do you think Janet was possessed, or could she have been faking it? By 1979, the activity faded, but Janet never truly escaped it. She said something always followed her. Years later, she revealed she still felt its presence. And Bill Wilkins? Records confirmed he was real. He did die in that house. But was he the only spirit there? The Enfield Poltergeist became one of the most famous hauntings in history. It inspired The Conjuring 2 and countless documentaries. Even today, skeptics and believers argue, was it real, or just mass hysteria? Do you think the Enfield Poltergeist was real, or was it just a trick? Let us know in the comments. If you love real-life horror stories, subscribe now. And if you've ever had a paranormal experience, tell us in the comments. Because next time, we uncover a haunted object that cursed everyone who touched it. Coming soon.